My name is Grace Mitchell, and I'm 32 years old. What I'm about to share with you might sound like something out of a legal thriller, but every word is true. And it happened just last year when my adoptive mother tried to steal my $2.5 million inheritance using 3 lawyers and a room full of family members who thought I didn't deserve a penny. You see, when someone spends 24 years reminding you that you're lucky to have a roof over your head, they never expect you to inherit more money than they'll see in a lifetime. They especially don't expect the grandmother they ignored to have planned the perfect legal counterstrike from beyond the grave. Before I tell you exactly how I walked into that ambush and turned the tables completely, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if stories about standing up to family bullies truly resonate with you. I'd love to know where you're watching from and what time it is there. I read every comment. Now let me take you back to that Tuesday morning when my phone rang and my adoptive mother's fake sweet voice said the words that changed everything. The law offices of Johnson and Associates occupied the entire 15th floor of a gleaming downtown high-rise. As I stepped out of the elevator that morning, my heels clicking against marble floors, I already knew something was very wrong. Patricia had insisted on this specific location, this specific time, and when Patricia Mitchell got specific, it meant she'd been planning. The receptionist barely looked up. Conference room C, they're waiting. They, plural. My stomach tightened. I pushed open the heavy oak door to find a scene straight out of my nightmares. Patricia sat at the head of the polished conference table, her brother Robert to her right, both wearing their court best suits. My adoptive siblings, James and Linda, flanked them like guards. But it was the 3 men in identical gray suits on the opposite side that made my blood run cold.
Holland, hello, Trig.
Lawyers. 3 of them. Grace, finally. Patricia's voice dripped honey over poison.
Shit, was that a red light?
Sit down.
I
We
was
have
not looking at
documents
the
to
traffic
discuss.
lights. Sorry.
The papers were already spread across the table. Official looking, intimidating, with little yellow tabs
I was
marking
not looking at the
signature
traffic
lines.
light. Damn.
I
That
recognized the
was
letterhead
amber,
immediately.
right? Surely.
Transfer of
All right,
inheritance rights. You
Gonna
brought
get it over and done with
lawyers?
now.
I kept my voice steady, though my hands trembled slightly. report her death. She did it with 3 independent witnesses and a video
Switching
camera rolling.
lanes.
Most
Woo!
importantly, Patricia didn't know either. Grace? Patricia's sharp voice snapped me back to the present. We don't have all day.
Come on,
These
come on.
lawyers charge by the hour. Handbag,
Yay,
a
it's done.
$3,000 Christmas gift from Patricia, sitting prominently on the table. It's not fair. We're
It
her
is
real
done.
grandchildren. Real. There it was.
This light doesn't
Uncle
count.
Robert pulled out a folder, his voice taking on his courtroom tone. I've taken the liberty
It's
of researching
fine. It's a
similar
bus
cases.
lane.
Courts often overturn wills when
Frank,
there's evidence
Colonel?
of undue influence.
Glenridge, hello?
A non-blood relative who suddenly inherits everything while biological family gets nothing? Red flags everywhere. I was her caregiver for the last 2 years, I said quietly. I took unpaid leave from the hospital. I slept in a chair beside her bed for her final 3 months. Exactly!
What am I
Patricia's
looking for?
eyes lit up triumphantly. You isolated her from her real family. Classic
I don't know what you
manipulation
mean.
tactics.
What am I
The
gonna do on the
accusation
weekend?
hung in the air like a slap. I wanted
I'm
to
gonna rest
scream that they'd visited Grandma
5
exactly
days.
3 times in
Sorry,
her
Glenn.
final year,
Probably.
and only when they needed
I'm gonna
money.
be knackered. I am knackered.
I wanted to remind them how Patricia had complained about the burden of having her mother-in-law in the house,
Hey, Cotty.
how she'd tried to put Grandma in the cheapest nursing home she could find. But I stayed
Oh
silent,
my God, are you just pacing
because
AI
Grandma
shit? Why
Eleanor
are you
had
doing
taught me
this?
something
Why?
else during those long
Are
chess
you
games.
AI? Why?
Never interrupt your enemy when they're
Why are
making
you
a mistake.
posting?
The first lawyer,
The
a thin
AI
man with
slot.
cold eyes,
Hey,
slid a
Velvet.
document across the table. Miss Mitchell,
Looking
this is a
forward to the
voluntary transfer of
weekend.
inheritance.
Oh, looking for.
Sign here.
Oh,
and
forward.
This
Okay,
unpleasant
okay.
situation
I know what you
goes
mean
away.
now.
Refuse.
Looking forward to
and
the
the family
weekend.
will be forced to pursue legal
Okay.
action for
I
undue
understand.
influence, elder abuse, and fraud. Elder abuse. They were accusing me of elder abuse. My phone buzzed again. A simple message. Imposition. I looked up at their expectant
Being mean? I'm not
faces and
mean to you,
smiled.
James.
Before I sign anything, I need to make a phone call. If you've ever felt like an outsider in your own family, you'll understand what comes next. Before we continue, if this story resonates with you, please hit that like button. It really helps others find these stories. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had to stand up to family members who thought they could walk all over you? Your
I'm looking
stories
forward to
give
the
me
weekend.
strength.
Looking
Now
forward
let me
to
tell you what Patricia didn't
being
know
able to
about
not wake
Grandma's
up at
final months.
X
No phone
o'clock.
calls, Patricia said sharply. You decide now, or we file the paperwork this afternoon.
X
The
o'clock.
second lawyer, a younger man with an eager expression, opened his laptop. We've already
I'm
drafted the
always
complaint.
mean.
Elder
Only because you
financial
don't spell
abuse,
the word always
isolation
correctly.
of a vulnerable adult, forgery concerns regarding the will's witnesses. Forgery?
Any shady
I couldn't
parks,
help
there's
but
loads
laugh.
of shady parks.
You're seriously suggesting $2.5
You
million,
get what you give, exactly,
Grace?
Velvet. No,
Robert interrupted,
Exactly,
his
James.
voice
you get what
hard.
You give. You chat shit,
That's
get
not
banged.
just money. That's security for this entire family.
Basically.
That's James's children's
MILF
college
Park? What are you
funds.
talking about? What's
That's
MILF Park? I
Linda's
don't know what I
chance
mean.
to start over. That's Patricia's retirement. Patricia's retirement.
Mark,
From the company
for
she'd
the
inherited
55
from
Watch
her
Street,
late
thank you.
husband. The company worth $8 million. And if I refuse, I asked, though I already knew the answer.
I thought you were banned
Patricia's
yesterday. I didn't
mask
see you get
finally
unbanned.
slipped, revealing the cold calculation beneath. Then we destroy you. Every hospital in this state will know you're under investigation for elder abuse. Your nursing license? Gone. Your reputation? Destroyed. And after we win, and we will win, you'll owe us legal fees that will bankrupt you for life. The third lawyer pulled out his phone. I have a contact at the state nursing board. One call and you're under official review by end of business today. They'd thought of everything, or so they believed. What they didn't know was that I'd already consulted with someone about this exact scenario. What they didn't know was that Grandma Eleanor had seen this coming 2 years ago. What they didn't know was that every single threat they'd just made had been recorded by the phone in my
Looney,
pocket.
thank you for the prime.
And more importantly,
Why is my voice so
by
crazy?
someone else
You
entirely.
want fries with that, sir?
You seem very prepared, I
Why
said,
do I sound like I'm going
keeping
through
my
puberty?
voice
What the
steady.
fuck?
Almost like you've been planning this for months.
Would you like fries with that,
James
sir?
shifted uncomfortably. We found out about the will 6 months ago. We've had time
I
to
shall speak like this
consider
for
our
the
options.
remainder of the 7.5,
months.
8 hours of screaming
Exactly
I
how
shall
long
do
ago
now.
Grandma had passed. Exactly how long Mr. Harrison had been waiting for this moment. My phone buzzed a third time. The message was different now. They just threatened you on record. Perfect. Coming in. I stood up slowly. You know what? You're right. This is a big decision. I need 60 seconds to think. But I
Green
wasn't
Park
thinking.
coffee.
I was counting
Yeah,
down.
maybe. Hey, Wolfclaw.
Sit down, Grace. Patricia's voice could have frozen water. You don't get 60 seconds. You've had 6 months. 6 months of manipulating our mother's money, Robert added. 6 months of pretending you earned something you didn't deserve. Sign it. James pushed the pen toward me. Stop being selfish for once. For once, I remained standing. When have I ever been selfish? When I gave up my graduation dinner because Linda needed the car?
Hey, Jungle Cat, how did the
When I
interview
missed
go?
my nursing pinning ceremony because Patricia scheduled a family photo that I wasn't even in? Oh, here we go. Linda rolled her eyes. Poor adopted Grace, always the victim. The first lawyer tapped the signature line. This is standard procedure, Miss Mitchell. Voluntary transfers happen all the time when will disputes arise.
I mean, hey, Jungle Cat,
Standard.
how did the interview go?
I looked him in the eye.
Why is my voice so high
Is
pitched
it
this morning?
standard
What the
to
hell?
ambush someone with 3 lawyers? It's standard when someone steals from family, Patricia snapped. I didn't steal anything. You manipulated a dying woman. I held her hand while she died.
Hey, Antoinette.
The room erupted. Everyone talking at once, voices
Shit.
rising, accusations flying. Patricia
shut it
standing
down,
now,
what do you mean?
Robert's face red.
Oh, you just left
James
the
pounding
interview?
The table.
Just had
Linda
enough.
shrieking about fairness.
Look at this
The
car, what's
lawyers
that car doing?
trying to
Oh.
restore order.
I see.
And through it all, I stayed perfectly still. Because Grandma Eleanor had taught me this
How's it
too.
going, Antoinette?
In chaos,
Let's
Grace,
find a Ferrari.
the calm person
I
controls
gotta go to
the
Kensington
room.
for that. CBA
My
with
phone lit up
Kensington.
with
There's
a
nowhere
final
nice to eat in
message.
Kensington unless
Open the door.
I get a
You
$200
want me to
dono.
sign? I said, just
Pause,
loud
John.
enough to cut through the noise. Everyone stopped.
Fancy food in
Fine,
Kensington.
but I'm not signing anything
Today?
without my lawyer present.
Is it time?
Patricia laughed, harsh and bitter.
They wanted a
Your
bully boy
lawyer?
project manager.
You
Oh,
can't
okay.
afford a lawyer.
They
You're a
wanted a project
nurse who
manager,
lives
yeah.
in a 1-bedroom apartment. Actually, I said, walking
I
to
know
the
what you
conference
mean.
room door, I can't afford a lawyer. That's why I'm using Grandma's. The door opened before I could reach it. Mr. Harrison walked in like he owned the building, which, funny enough, his firm partially did. 70 years old, silver-haired, carrying a leather briefcase that probably cost more than my car, he surveyed the room with the kind of calm that came from 40 years of courtroom victories. Good morning, he said pleasantly. I'm Harold Harrison, senior partner at
You live in your
Harrison
car?
Krinsky and Associates.
How's that?
I believe you're
do you
discussing my
sleep?
client's inheritance. The silence was deafening. Patricia
Can you
found her
can't stream
voice
Harris
first.
Food? You can stream it.
Your
People have streamed
client?
it before.
Grace doesn't have a lawyer.
I just have to smuggle
She's
you in.
had
I
one
just
for 6 months, Harrison replied,
I'd probably not use
setting
this
his
camera for
briefcase
it.
on the table with deliberate precision. Ever since Eleanor Mitchell asked me to protect her granddaughter from exactly this scenario, the room shifted. I could feel it, the sudden uncertainty, the recalculation, but they didn't know the half of it yet. As Harrison opened his briefcase, I let myself remember those last months with Grandma. The visitors she'd had, not just friends from her country club, but professional people with serious faces and leather folders. The afternoon I'd come home early from work to find her in the study with 3 strangers, signing documents while being filmed.
Eventually
Grace,
you just get so
dear,
tired you fall
she'd
asleep.
said, not even
That
trying
makes
to
sense.
hide the papers. Just some estate planning, nothing for you to worry about.
Ding dong.
But there had been something in her eyes, a sparkle of mischief I'd seen when she'd corner my king in chess. She was planning something. I know my son's widow, she told me one evening, her voice matter of fact. Patricia counts money in her sleep, and Robert, he'd sue his own shadow if he thought it owed him something. When I'm gone, they'll come for you. Grandma, don't talk like that. Listen to me. Her hand had gripped mine with surprising strength. I'm leaving you everything, because you're the only one who never asked for anything. But they won't accept it. They'll try to break you, shame you, make you feel like you don't deserve it. She'd pressed something into my hand then, a business card with elegant gold lettering, Harrison, Krensky, and Associates. On the back, in her shaky handwriting, when they come for you, and they will, call immediately. Mr. Harrison has been my personal attorney for 40 years, she'd said. He has something for you, but not until they show their true colors, not until they try to take what's yours. Now, watching Harrison pull out a thick folder marked Confidential, Eleanor Mitchell Estate, I finally understood.
Broccoli.
Grandma
Why
hadn't
get
just
your
left
hair
me
cut like a
money.
broccoli? Why
She'd
would
left
why
me
do
a
it?
chess
Just why?
game, already
Do they
3
go into
moves
the barbers
ahead.
and say,
This is
what kind of
ridiculous,
vegetable do you want to look
Robert
like today?
blustered,
Like,
but his
everyone says
confidence was
broccoli.
cracking.
why does
You
no one
can't
say
just-
parsnip?
Actually, Harrison
Just a little
smiled.
tuft on top.
I can.
They don't want
Harrison
that
pulled
for
out a
some
document
reason.
with an official seal. Before we proceed, I should
Why
mention
not?
that this conference room is under audio-visual
carrot.
surveillance, as are
Or
all meeting
potato,
rooms
just
in this building.
shave it all off, potato
I trust
me.
no one objects to having this
broccoli me,
conversation
potato me.
recorded. The 3 hired lawyers exchanged glances. The oldest one cleared his throat. We have
Crazy.
nothing to hide. Excellent.
Give me that broccoli cut,
Harrison's
bro.
smile was razor sharp. Then let's discuss
Let me get
Eleanor
that broccoli
Mitchell's
cut.
actual estate plans. Patricia leaned
Hey, yo,
forward.
let me get that broccoli
Whatever
cut, cuz.
documents you have, we'll challenge them. My mother-in-law wasn't in her right mind. Patricia, Harrison interrupted gently. Eleanor was my client, but she was also my friend. And she was certainly in her right mind when she told me,
I can say that because
and
I never
quote,
had emo hair.
that
when I
woman
was
married
growing
my
up.
son
I
for
never
his
succumbed
money,
to it.
and
I
she'll
did have
try to
longer
steal
hair,
from
though,
Grace
and
the
then I had a
same
mohawk,
way.
So I can't
The
really,
room went cold.
I can't
I
really
pulled out my
criticize.
phone, finally looking at the string of messages from Harrison's assistant. In the lobby. They just threatened your license. Recorded. Perfect evidence for coercion charges. Mr. H says stay calm. He's coming up. This hadn't been random. Harrison had been in the building the whole time, waiting, listening through his assistant's phone.
Seeing
on the
hair was
speaker in
cool,
the
you
lobby,
think?
Waiting for them
Like
to
the
threaten
fringe
them,
going over half the
waiting for
face.
them to
I'm
show
not
their
sure, you
hand.
know.
Just
I
like
don't know if
Grandma
that was
had
cool.
waited 2 years ago to update her will with very specific provisions.
Was it?
You recorded us? Uncle Robert's face went pale. Without consent? This building requires consent to enter, Harrison replied smoothly. The signs are posted at every entrance.
Man, does he
By
wanna get any
entering,
tighter,
you
those
consented to
trousers?
recording. I assumed your
How tight?
lawyers would have noticed. The 3 hired lawyers were frantically checking their
How
phones,
tight
probably
can it go?
Googling the building's policies. Their faces told me everything. Harrison was right. Now then, Harrison continued, pulling out a tablet. Shall we discuss what Eleanor actually wanted? Or would you prefer to continue threatening my client with fraudulent elder abuse claims?
Man, this guy is
Patricia's
fucking
mask
pissing
was
me off.
completely gone now, replaced by naked panic. We're her family. We have rights. You have, Harrison said quietly, exactly what Eleanor chose to give you, which, as you're about to learn, was quite specific. He turned the tablet toward them. Grandma Eleanor's face filled the screen, alive and sharp-eyed, sitting in this very building's senior partner conference room. Hello, Patricia, her recorded voice said. If you're watching this, you've done exactly what
annoying
I
scooter.
expected.
Annoying.
Before Harrison could press play, Patricia stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. This is ambush tactics. We need our own counsel. You brought 3 lawyers, I said quietly. How many more do you need? She turned on me then. 24 years of carefully maintained pretense finally crumbling. You ungrateful little parasite. We fed you, clothed you, gave you shelter when no one else wanted you.
What bike? Exclamation mark
Actually,
bike.
Harrison interjected, pulling out another document. Grace had 2 other family members willing to take her in. You petitioned the court for custody because, let me check the record, the monthly foster care stipend would help with household expenses. The foster care stipend, I'd never known. Patricia's face went white, then red. She pulled out a folder of her own.
Ooh.
Thick, organized, vindictive. Fine. You want to play hardball? 24 years of receipts, Grace. Every penny we spent on you.
Hey, Shatia.
She started reading, her voice growing louder with each item.
Good morning.
Dance
good
lessons
morning.
you quit after 2 weeks. $300. Dental work. $15,000 over 10 years. That prom dress you wore once. $200. Food. Estimated at $200 per month for 18 years. You kept receipts? My voice came out smaller than intended.
Turning left.
For feeding a child?
Turn left.
James
This
jumped
vehicle
in,
is
eager
turning
to
right.
twist the knife. Mom had to take out loans to cover your expenses. Loans she's still paying off. That was a lie. I knew it was a lie because I'd seen their tax
What's this
returns when
man
helping
doing?
Grandma with
What
paperwork.
you doing, bruv?
But it still stung.
Just chilling.
Linda added her voice to the
Just
chorus.
been chilling.
You ate at our table every night and never contributed a dime until
Chilling
you were
in the
18.
road.
I was a child, I said.
Block
You
the
were a
road, block it.
burden,
It's
Patricia
fine.
snapped.
Just
And now
block
you
the
think
whole
you
road.
deserve millions?
Doesn't matter.
After everything we
You do
sacrificed?
you, bruv.
Robert stood too, his lawyer voice
You
booming.
do you.
No judge in this state will let an ungrateful adopted child steal from biological family. We have moral law on our side. Moral law? I laughed, but it came out broken. You visited Grandma 3 times in her last year. 3 times. We were busy. You were 10
Is
minutes
it made out
away.
of titanium? Yes, it is.
The room exploded.
Any plans for the
again.
weekend?
Accusations flying, voices
You don't have any
rising,
plans for the weekend?
fingers pointing. The 3 lawyers Patricia had hired were
Hmm.
frantically taking notes, probably calculating their billable hours.
I think this
This
might be
was
the weekend where I
spiraling
have
exactly
no
where
official
Patricia
plan.
wanted it to go. Into
But I've
an
had plans for
ugly
the
public
I've done
battle that
something
would
for the last,
drain
like,
me
5
financially
weekends,
and
so it's
emotionally.
quite nice
That's
to
when
have one where
Harrison
I
pressed
don't have
play
any,
on
like,
the tablet.
concrete
Grandma's
to-dos.
voice filled the room, strong and clear. If you're watching this, Patricia, it means you've tried to
How about
steal
you?
from Grace. So let me be perfectly clear.
You're getting back to sim racing.
This is where everything changes.
$7,000.
If you're still watching, you're about to witness one of the
No, it
most
wasn't that expensive, to
satisfying
be
legal
honest.
reversals I've
No, it
ever
wasn't $7,000.
experienced. Quick
That's a lot.
reminder to subscribe if you haven't already. We post new stories every week about standing up to family bullies and toxic relationships. And please, share this with someone who needs to hear that they're worthy of respect, regardless of blood relations. Now, let me introduce you to the man who changed everything. Grandma's face on the screen was serene, sitting in what I now recognized as Harrison's personal office. She wore her favorite pearl necklace, the one Patricia had tried to claim at the funeral. Patricia, Grandma's recorded voice continued, you're probably standing there with Robert, maybe James and Linda too, trying to intimidate Grace into giving up her inheritance. You've probably hired lawyers. Robert's idea, no doubt. You might even be threatening her career, her reputation, her future. Patricia sank into her chair. Robert's mouth opened and
McLaren.
closed like a fish. I know this because I've watched you for
Nice.
30 years. I watched you count the silver after every family dinner. I watched you tell Grace she was lucky to have scraps while you bought Linda a new car. I watched you exclude her from family photos, family vacations, family decisions. The video, Grandma looked directly at the camera. You thought I was old and blind, but I saw everything. Harrison paused the video. Should I continue? Or would you prefer to discuss the supplementary documentation? What documentation? Robert demanded, though his voice had lost its courtroom authority. Harrison pulled out a leather-bound folder. Exhibit A, Patricia's email to her sister, dated 3 years ago, discussing how to, quote, minimize Grace's involvement once Mom finally kicks it. Exhibit B, recording of Robert advising Patricia to challenge any will that favors Grace, dated 18 months ago. Exhibit C, James's text messages about, how did you get those? Patricia shrieked. Your mother-in-law was quite tech-savvy for an 85-year-old woman. She also owned the family phone plan
They
you all
always wait
used.
until it turns
Legal
green and then they
access
decide
to
to
all
cross.
records.
Why?
The 3 hired
Why
lawyers
all
were backing
pedestrians
away
exactly
from the
the same?
table now. physically
They
distancing
have all that time
themselves
to
from their
cross
clients.
when it's red for me.
The oldest
And
one
then
closed
the
his
moment
briefcase.
it turns green, they're like, oh, I want
We
to
need
cross
to
the road
confer
now.
with our clients privately.
Every fucking
By
time.
all means,
Every time.
Harrison said pleasantly.
Every time. It's
But
every
first,
single time.
let's finish Grandma's message. He pressed play again. On screen, Grandma pulled out a document. This is my will, updated 2 years ago. Present are 3 witnesses. Dr. Margaret Chen, my physician of 20 years, Judge Dorothy Williams, retired, and
NTC
Father Michael
programmers,
O'Brien
bullshit.
from St. Mary's.
Absolute
All will
bullshit.
testify to my complete mental competence. She looked at the camera again, and for a moment, I could swear she was looking right at Patricia. I leave everything to Grace, because she's the only one who loved me for me,
Oh, I
not
need to
my
get
money.
water or something to drink
And
or
if you
something.
try to take it from
It's gonna
her,
be hot today.
you'll trigger the special
It's gonna
provisions
be a
I've put in
hot-ass day,
place.
man.
Special provisions?
This whole week, coming
Harrison
week's gonna
smiled.
be hot.
This is where it gets interesting. Harrison pulled out a document with multiple official seals. This is the supplementary trust documentation, filed in 3 states to prevent jurisdiction shopping. Mrs. Eleanor Mitchell established an irrevocable trust 2 years ago with very specific conditions. He began reading in his courtroom voice. In the event that any family member challenges Grace Mitchell's inheritance through legal action, threatens legal action, or attempts to coerce her into surrendering said inheritance, the following provisions automatically activate. Patricia grabbed for the document. Harrison smoothly moved it out of reach. First, a penalty clause. Any family member who challenges this will owes the estate, now Grace, $5 million in damages. $5 million? Robert went pale. That's impossible. You can't. I can, and I did. Grandma's voice came from the tablet, still recording.
Am I
I
from
liquidated
Halsden?
my
No, I'm
private
from Handsworth.
investments to ensure this clause had teeth.
I sound a
Harrison
bit like Paul
continued
Bettany
reading.
now, yeah, no.
Second, all documentation of Patricia Mitchell's
Failed to
financial
get weather data,
misconduct
huh?
during her management of Mitchell
Ooh,
Industries
Stream Elements
will be
shitting the
forwarded
bed
to the
this morning.
IRS
What's going
and
on?
State Attorney General. Patricia's face went from red to white.
Late May 2026.
What financial
Oh,
misconduct?
damn, Stream
The
Elements
discrepancies
not
your
working. What the hell?
mother-in-law found when
I
she
might
did a
have to get rid of
private
Stream
audit
Elements.
last year, Harrison said mildly.
Damn.
She chose not to pursue it then, out of consideration for her
I don't think there's any way I
grandchildren.
can fix that.
But that
I think that's
consideration
all Stream Elements.
was conditional.
I can't just like restart the
James
ball or
stood
anything.
up so
That's
fast
up to
his
them.
chair fell over.
Damn, Stream
Mom,
Elements down.
what is he talking
Stream
about?
Elements weathered.
Harrison
down.
ignored the interruption.
Huh. API
Third,
must be.
the video depositions Eleanor
Fake.
made regarding the family's treatment of Grace will be released to what she calls interested
Must
parties.
be food.
What interested parties? Linda demanded. Your employers, for one, Harrison replied. James, your company has strict ethics clauses about bullying and harassment, doesn't it? Linda, weren't you applying to graduate programs that require character references? The room was dead silent now. Even the 3 hired lawyers had stopped taking notes. Harrison turned the tablet back toward them and pressed play one more time. Grandma Eleanor looked tired but determined. I know you all think I was a foolish old woman, but I built a pharmaceutical company from nothing before Patricia even met my son. I know
This
how
corner
to
looks like
protect what
Tokyo,
matters.
does it?
She held up a photo.
Huh.
It was of her and me at
I
my
mean, they do
nursing
drive
school
on the left-hand side of the
graduation,
road, though.
both of us beaming. Grace is what matters.
It's the
She
API, you
loved
just
me
tested
when
it
I was
elsewhere, thanks.
difficult, cared for me when I was
Yeah,
sick,
seems
and
so.
never once asked for anything in return. That's why she gets everything. And if
Let's
you
see
try
what
to
Met
take it
Office
from
says.
her. She smiled then,
Damn, 30
that chess
degrees,
master
21
smile
now.
I knew so well.
23,
You'll lose everything.
25, 26, 27.
The video ended.
29 by 3
Harrison
p.m.
closed the tablet with a
Fucking
decisive
hell.
click. Now then,
Fucking
he said
hell.
pleasantly, shall we discuss
Monday
your
32,
options?
Tuesday 32,
This is
Wednesday 30,
extortion,
Thursday 30.
Robert said, but his voice
Oh
shook.
no!
You can't enforce. Harrison pulled up another video on his tablet. Let me show you the authentication process. The screen filled with a conference room.
No.
Larger, more formal. Grandma sat at the center of a long table, surrounded by professionals.
Might not be
State your name for the
I
record,
might not be cycling so
a
much
voice
today.
said off camera. Eleanor Catherine Mitchell, born June 15, 1938. And you're here of your own free will? I am. The camera panned to show 3 doctors in white coats. The first one spoke. I'm Dr. Margaret Chen, Chief of Psychiatry at St. Mary's Hospital. I've administered a complete cognitive assessment to Mrs. Mitchell. She scored in the 98th percentile for her age group. The second doctor, Dr. James Patel, neurology. Brain scans show no signs of dementia, Alzheimer's, or any cognitive impairment. The third,
Walking
Dr. Sarah
streamer.
Kim, internal medicine.
Next
Mrs.
week you're
Mitchell's
going to get to 40
medications
in
have
France,
been
or what
reviewed.
the hell?
Nothing
Where
that
in
would
France is
impact
that, south?
decision-making capacity.
Or Paris.
The camera returned to Grandma. I am updating my will today, January 15th, 2023, because I want to ensure my granddaughter Grace is protected from family members who have shown a pattern of emotional and financial abuse toward her. Could you elaborate? The off-camera voice asked. Certainly. Grandma pulled out a notebook. On December 23rd, 2019,
Yeah, we hit 40 every year.
Patricia
38
told
in
Grace
Paris.
she couldn't
Fucking
attend
hell.
Christmas dinner because there wasn't enough room, despite
32
having
is too
12
much,
seats
38
and
is way
8
too
people.
much.
On June
To be
3rd,
honest, of the
2020,
35, I'm probably not
Patricia
gonna
withdrew Grace
stream.
from the family health insurance without telling
It's
her,
probably just too
which
hot.
Grace discovered when she needed emergency care. On August 15th, 2021,
Walking.
we get it,
You know that walking
Patricia
we did
screamed,
the other week
standing
for
up.
up here?
Stop the
up
video.
Oxford Street.
Harrison
That's what
paused
killed
it.
me.
There's 40
I think I
minutes
had to
more.
take the day off.
Would you like
the day
to see
after
the
that.
part where she discusses
Or I was,
your attempt
it
to power
really,
of
really
attorney her
tired me out a lot,
assets while she
walking
was
that
in the
much.
hospital for routine
I can't walk
surgery?
like that.
The
I can
3
cycle,
lawyers
but I can't
Patricia
walk.
had hired were packing up now.
Isn't it
The
El
oldest
Niño?
one
Yeah,
addressed
they say
Patricia
so, but
directly.
Who knows?
Mrs. Mitchell, we can
Your
no
limit's 30
longer
for
represent
walking.
you
Yeah,
in this
30 's
matter.
30 's too much,
Continuing would be an
to be
ethical
honest.
violation.
But 35,
What?
35
You
plus,
can't
I'm
just.
not going to be cycling
We
around
can and we
in that
must.
heat all day. It's
He
just
looked
not,
at Harrison.
It's not going to happen.
I
If I do
assume
stream, I
you'll
won't
be
cycling,
filing the
basically.
appropriate notifications?
Wait till AIM
Only if
collapses.
necessary, Harrison replied smoothly. They left quickly, probably calculating how to bill for the partial hour while distancing themselves
James
from
Street,
potential
yeah, this is
fraud
James
charges. Now it was just family, if you could call us that, and Harrison. You have 2 options, Harrison said, his voice gentle but firm. Sign a legal agreement to never contest Grace's inheritance or face the full consequences outlined in the trust documents. Patricia looked at
Excuse
me
me.
then, really looked at me for the first time in years. You planned this. No, I said quietly. Grandma planned this. She just loved me enough to make sure you couldn't hurt me anymore. Harrison placed a new set of documents on the table. This is a cease and desist agreement. Sign it, and this ends here.
Do excuse
No
me.
penalties,
Have
no
to clear my
revelations,
throat.
no
I need something to
investigations.
drink.
You simply
I need
walk
something to
away and never contact Grace about the inheritance again. And if we don't? Robert asked, though the fight had gone out of his voice. Then by 5 p.m. today, I file the penalty clause activation with the court. The IRS receives Patricia's audit documentation by Monday. Your employers receive the video depositions by Wednesday. And Grace gets a
I don't know which
restraining
one you
order
did.
against all of you by Friday. He pulled out his phone, showing a screen full of drafted emails. Everything is prepared. I just need to hit send. Patricia's hands shook as she reached for the cease and desist papers. This is cruel. No, I said, finding my voice at last. Cruel was telling an 8-year-old girl that her parents' death was an inconvenience to you. Cruel was making me eat in the kitchen while the real family ate in the dining room. Cruel was 24 years of reminding me I didn't belong. I stood up,
What's that,
steady
AMOC?
now. This isn't
AMOC.
cruel. This is
I don't know what that is.
consequences. James looked between his mother and me. Grace, we're still family. No, I interrupted. We're not. Family doesn't ambush you with lawyers. Family doesn't keep receipts for feeding a child. Family doesn't threaten to destroy your career because they want your money. Linda started crying, the same tears she'd used to get out of trouble our whole lives. We didn't mean... You did mean it. Every single word, every single action, you meant it. Harrison slid a pen across to Patricia. Initial each page, sign the last one. What about our relationship? Patricia asked me. Are you really going to throw away 24 years? I almost laughed. What relationship? The one where you introduced me as the girl we took in instead of your daughter? The one where you told me I should be grateful for scraps? I pulled out my checkbook, the one linked to Grandma's estate account, already transferred to my name. You know what? Let's make this clean. I wrote a check for $50,000 and slid it across the table. This covers every penny you spent raising me, according to your own receipts. Now we're even. Patricia stared at the check like it was poisonous. Take it, I said. It's more than you ever gave me freely. Robert signed first, his lawyer's mind recognizing defeat. James followed, then Linda. Patricia held out the longest, the pen hovering over the signature line. I tried to love you, she said quietly. No, I replied. You tried to control me. There's a difference. She signed. Harrison collected the signed documents with practiced efficiency, making copies on the conference room scanner. These are legally binding as of, he checked his watch, 11:47 a.m. Tuesday, March 12th. Any violation will trigger the full penalty provisions. Patricia stood to leave, then turned back.
That's the current that keeps England
That
moderate.
money was
the
meant for
wind.
the family legacy.
Atlantic meridional
is,
overturning
I said calmly.
circulation. Interesting.
Grandma's legacy.
I didn't know
A
that.
legacy of kindness,
Learned something today.
generosity, and
I
protecting
learned something
those
yesterday
who
as
need
well. I
it.
can't remember what it was. though.
Everything you
I
never
remember you guys told me
understood
something, and I
about
was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Robert
I can't remember
grabbed
what it was
Patricia's
now.
arm. We need to go. Now. But I wasn't done. Wait. They all froze at the door. I want you to know something, I said, my voice steady and clear. I'm using the money to open a free clinic in Grandma's name. The Eleanor Mitchell Memorial Clinic will serve low-income families, immigrants, and anyone else who's been told they don't deserve care. Patricia's face twisted. You're wasting millions on charity? I'm investing millions in humanity, something Grandma would have loved. James shook his head. You could have set us all up for life. You've been set up your whole lives, I replied. Maybe it's time you learn to stand on your own. Linda made one last attempt. Grace, please, we're struggling. You're struggling in a 4-bedroom house with 2 BMWs in the garage. I struggled sleeping in a converted laundry room until I was 16. We are not the same. Harrison opened the door for them. I believe we're done here. As they filed out, Patricia stopped one more time. Your birth parents would be ashamed of you. The words that would have destroyed me a year ago now bounced off like rain. My birth parents are dead, but the woman who actually raised me, who taught me chess and strength and how to stand up for myself, she'd be proud, and that's all that matters. They left without another word. The door clicked shut with a finality that echoed through the room. Harrison began packing his briefcase. Your grandmother would indeed be proud. She predicted every move they made, down to Patricia's final insult.
When will it happen?
She did? He handed me a sealed envelope with my name on it. She left this for you to open after the confrontation. She said you'd know when.
When's it going to
I
happen?
recognized Grandma's handwriting immediately.
Soon.
Inside
When?
was a single sheet of
You can't say
paper
we'll all
with
be
one
dead and
line.
just be like, yeah, it's happening soon.
They never deserved you, my darling girl.
Like,
Now
how
go
soon?
live the life you were meant to
Like
live.
50 years,
All my
100
love,
years,
Grandma.
200 years?
I held the letter to my chest, and
Outcross,
finally,
thank you for the 55
finally,
Watch Street.
let
Thank
myself
you.
cry.
Thank
Not
you.
tears of sadness, but of relief.
Thank you, thank you.
The war was over. I
In
had won.
geological terms, not
More
soon.
importantly, Grandma had made sure I would win.
It's quite vague, to be honest.
Shall we go? Harrison
That's
asked
all
gently.
quite vague.
You have a clinic to build. Within 2 weeks, the family grapevine, which had always excluded me, suddenly couldn't stop talking about me. Patricia's biggest client, a medical supply company, pulled their contract citing ethical concerns about family values. Apparently,
Hey,
the
Jabba.
CEO's wife had heard
Big
about
hangover.
the ambush from
Why?
someone who knew one of the fleeing lawyers.
Was it the Canada
Robert's
match?
situation was worse.
I'm just kidding.
The State Bar Association opened an investigation into
Was
his
it the Bosnia
consultation
match?
on the attempted
many
inheritance
beers.
theft. Even retired lawyers can't use their credentials to intimidate people. He received a formal censure and was banned from providing any legal advice, even informally. James called me once,
Big
2
hangover.
months later.
I don't know how
His
you get
voice
into
was
the office
different,
when it's like 32
humbled.
degrees next week.
I got demoted,
I
he
just
said
can't imagine
simply.
how people do that.
My
Like
boss
taking
found
the
out
train
about what we tried
or
to
the
do
bus
to you.
and/or bus.
Said it showed poor judgment and questionable ethics. I'm back in junior
Big work
sales.
yesterday. They booked out Evolution.
I
Venue
didn't
in Battersea
gloat.
Park for everyone. Damn.
I'm sorry that happened to you, James. Are you?
I don't know that
Yes.
venue, but
I never
Battersea
wanted
Park's
anyone
massive,
hurt.
so
I just wanted to be
I'm
left
assuming it's
alone with what
huge.
Grandma gave me.
lots of free drinks.
He was quiet for a moment.
That's
Linda's
the thing.
working at
no
Starbucks
one really
now.
wants to go to a work
Mom
event,
had to
right?
sell the vacation house to cover the business losses.
Well,
The vacation
the
house
previous
they'd
places
never
I've been, I've
invited
never
me
really
to,
wanted
bought
to
with
like
money Patricia had borrowed from Grandma's accounts over the years.
drink heavily with my colleagues.
Grace?
But then again, I don't really like drinking
Yeah?
heavily, full stop. So
I'm sorry. For all of it. We knew it was wrong how Mom treated you. We never stood up to her. I know, I said softly. Maybe now you can start. He hung up without saying goodbye, but I understood. Some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. They can only be acknowledged as ash. The extended family, cousins and aunts who'd watched Patricia exclude me for years, began reaching out. Some with genuine apologies, others clearly angling for money. I responded to the sincere ones, ignored the rest. But the most surprising call came from Patricia's sister, Aunt Helen, who'd moved to California years ago. I always wondered when Eleanor would put Patricia in her place, she said. That woman documented everything, you know. She has 3 safe deposit boxes full of
I might have
evidence.
Pret for breakfast. You
She
know, I never
really
have
loved
Pret
you,
ever,
Grace.
ever.
I know, I
But
said, tears pricking my eyes.
I might just do a Pret
I
breakfast
really
today.
loved her too. 6 months after
There's
that
so many
conference
Prets, man.
room
It's kind of
confrontation,
disgusting.
the Eleanor Mitchell Memorial Clinic opened its
What
doors
the
in a
fuck,
renovated
man?
warehouse on the
There's
east
so
side
many.
of town. The
I know
part
what I want
Patricia
from
had
Pret.
always
They do
called
this
dangerous,
salmon,
but was
dark,
really just poor.
dark kind of
We served
brown bread,
147 patients on our
salmon
first day.
and
Single
dill
mothers who couldn't
kinda
afford copays.
roll thing.
Elderly people
That's
choosing
really
between
good.
medication and groceries. Immigrants afraid to seek help elsewhere. Each one reminded me why Grandma's money was going exactly where it
Yeah,
should.
I've been to Battersea Park. I
I
like
hired
Battersea Park.
10 full-time staff members,
Battersea Park's
including
nice.
2
It's
doctors
bigger
who'd
than
grown
it
up in the neighborhood
looks. Kind
and
of.
wanted to
It's a
give
bit
back.
deceptive, Battersea Park.
The pharmacy
In a
tech
way,
was a
in
young
a weird
woman
way.
named Maria, who'd aged out of foster care. She understood what it meant to be told you didn't belong. The local news picked up the story. Granddaughter honors inheritance with free clinic for underserved communities. They wanted to
All right, let's go
interview
to
me, but I
Pret and
declined.
get something to eat. I'm
This
hungry.
wasn't about me. It was about Grandma's
Salmon
legacy.
dill, something else green.
The
yeah.
real one.
The pickles, I
Not the
think.
money-grabbing one
Some kind
Patricia
of
had imagined.
some kind of
3
gherkin or
months
something.
after opening, we received an
I like
unexpected
it.
donation.
It's the one I usually get at the airport.
$500,000 from the Morrison Foundation. Their letter said they'd heard about our work and wanted to support
I say
healthcare
that
equity
like I take
in
flights
honor
all
of
the
Eleanor
time, but
Mitchell's memory.
I don't take flights all
I
the
later
time.
learned the foundation's director had been one of Grandma's bridge partners. The clinic's waiting room featured a portrait of Grandma in her younger days, when she'd been building her pharmaceutical company. The plaque beneath it read, Eleanor Catherine Mitchell, 1938 to 2023. Love is the greatest inheritance. One morning, I found James standing outside the clinic, looking at our sign. It's impressive, he said quietly. Thanks. Mom drove by last week. She sat in her car for an hour, just staring at the building. I didn't know what to say to that. She
Fried
won't
egg
admit
and
it,
mushroom
James
sourdough.
continued. But I think she finally understands what she lost.
I mean, Pret's alright, but
Not
it's
the
just,
money, the chance to be part of something good. He handed me an envelope.
It's okay.
This
I
is
don't
from
I don't
me.
hate Pret.
Not
I
much,
just
but I
I just
wanted
find
to
it to be
contribute.
quite expensive for what it
Inside
is.
was a check for
But then again,
$1,000
everything's
and a
expensive
note
now. But
for the kids who don't belong anywhere
there's
else.
something about Pret where I just feel like
After he left, I
it should
added
be
his check to
20%
the
cheaper.
donation wall, right next to the one from the local Girl Scout troop who'd
There's
raised
something about Pret
73
that
or
I think
50
that
sounds selling cookies.
things seem expensive for me.
Every donation
But then again,
mattered.
everywhere else is expensive.
Every
I don't know what
person
it is.
mattered.
I just have this
That's
idea
what
of Pret
Grandma
being
had
like a
taught
cheap
me,
place because it
and
used
what
to be.
Patricia had
But
never
now nothing's cheap,
understood.
so.
It's been a year now since that day in the conference room. I still live in my one-bedroom
And this
apartment,
sandwich roll
though
is
I could
like-
afford a mansion.
This salmon
I still
roll
work
thing is
part-time
like
at the hospital, though I don't
£6
need
or
the
something.
money,
It's fucking tiny.
because Grandma didn't leave me wealth to change who
good,
I
though.
am. She left it to amplify who I've
I need
always
to apply
been.
sunscreen.
The clinic serves over 500 patients a month now.
I'll probably do
We've
that
added
after
mental
eating
health
breakfast.
services and a social worker. Every success story, a diabetic getting insulin, a child getting vaccinations, an elderly man getting his heart medication, is a victory Grandma would have celebrated.
Let's go.
I've built my own family now, not blood, but choice. My colleagues at the clinic, the morning coffee shop owner who knows my order,
I don't
the elderly
smoke
neighbor I
these.
help with groceries, people who see me for who I am, not what I can give them. Patricia and I haven't spoken since that day. I heard through James that she's in therapy now, finally dealing with
Heat
whatever
wave
drove
incoming,
her
I know.
need to control everything
It's
and
insane.
everyone. I hope she finds peace. I genuinely do. But she'll find it
Filter
without
coffee,
me.
99p
Setting
filter
boundaries
coffee.
isn't cruel. It's necessary.
Maybe.
Protecting yourself from people who hurt you isn't selfish. It's survival. And choosing to use your blessings to help others
Knowing
isn't
about
waste.
Costa Prep, put something
It's
on, give up, go
purpose.
home. I'm not going to give up and go home.
Grandma
am I?
knew all of this.
I'm going to stream
That's why she
today.
protected me
Doing
one last
sweet
time
fuck all,
from
like
beyond
every
the
day.
grave. Not with money, but with the tools to finally stand up for myself. Every morning, I touch
was-
her photo in the clinic lobby
I was hostage
and
on New
whisper
Street
the
Station
same
and it
thing.
wasn't that much more expensive
Thank
than
you for
M&S
believing in
stream.
me. And every morning, I swear I hear her voice in the wind. You were always enough, my darling girl. Always. What would you have done in my situation? Sometimes the greatest inheritance isn't what someone leaves you. It's the strength they help you find in yourself. Thank you for listening to my story. If it helped you feel less alone or gave you courage to set your own boundaries, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories about overcoming family trauma and finding your own strength. Comment below.
45, fuck me.
Have you ever had to choose between keeping the peace and keeping your self-respect? Your stories matter, and I read every single one. Remember, you deserve respect, regardless of where you came from.
Which one's got the
Until
most
next
summer
time,
then?
stay strong and know your worth.